Hi there, open-minded hearts and souls and magical people. Um, Here it is, Tinkerbell broadcasting again. I hope you can hear me. We are going today to talk about why magic is might, and we can all be agree that magic is might. I mean, Muggle wizards and witches can do very amazing things and very fast errands, right? But I'm not talking about that kind of magic and that kind of might. I'm going to talk about the magic that we have been deprived by. And I want to start by quoting Grindelwald from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the second movie, where he's he's been asked about muggles and he's been told that muggles are useless creatures, right? And he just said that he considered them not to be useless but to be useful for another purposes. And I think that is very important because at least in our everyday world, um, I said in the previous video that I believe there are no muggles, that they are created, and that we all have an ability to create magic and to do magic, even though we are unaware of them or unaware of that. But today I'm going to talk about what's the real magic we can all see and we can all feel, but we have forget there exists. And first of all, I want to say that I do believe that magic is real, and I believe that magic is technology. We nowadays have this concept of technology like electromagnetic devices and I don't know, medical technology, for example, pills and pharmaceutical products and all that thing, and we consider them technology. But technology is just how we can put knowledge in use for create an easier life and to change our environment. That's what the definition of technology is. And let's think about I don't know, the previous years before the Middle Ages. Back then, the technology they possess, as for example for healing, it was through herbs and potions. They know the particularities of each herb or each plant or each tree, and how they can use it for healing certain and specific illnesses. They know how, for example, certain plants, if you cook them or if you just macerate them and you put them onto wounds, it helps them healing faster. Or I don't remember the name of this specific plant, but it's a plant that if you have a broken bone and you put this plant, you strike this plant and you put it on top of the wound, it helps the bone healing faster. So these things, as we read them in Harry Potter, like when Professor I forgot his name. How can I? Gilderoy Lockhart erased the bones from the Harry Potter arms, and they took them to Mrs. Pomfrey, and she just gave them the grow bones potion, and that makes him grow the bones again. It is real. It's taken from a real knowledge, because there is this plant that it helps the bone tissue to heal faster. So they have this technology, they have this knowledge because they observe the nature, and they through time, through experiments, through experimental, most of it. They know how these properties helps for each tissue, and helps the skin, helps um, I don't know, the liver, for example, and they can make the organism work better again. But what happened with these people who possess this knowledge? They were chased and they were killed in a most cruelty ways, you know. And why was that? Because there start to be certain institutions who dwell for power and for control, and they realize that if normal people have access to this knowledge, they don't need them at all, because they could do these physical and these energetical things and these spiritual things without them, and therefore there were no use for them, uh, for because they couldn't profit from it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it's very peculiar because after this time where these people who have the knowledge were chased, the same knowledge was started to be taught by these institutions to the members of the institutions, and from then onward forward, they started to use different language to teach this knowledge, and we started to call them science, right? Because they not only have knowledge about tangible things, they have knowledge about spiritual things, about the spiritual realms. They can contact with the spirits, and they can talk to them, and they can talk to animals, and they can talk to plants. And there are, for example, nowadays in the Amazonian rainforest, there are people that, with the use of certain herbs like ayahuasca, they can still talk to plants, and plants tell them, oh, you can use you can use this herb for this thing, and for that, and they can still talk to animals, and they can still they have preserved this culture and this technology, and they don't have in very closed societies from for example, the Amazonian culture. They have like they put limits to how they interact with our modern way of doing things, because sort of they have realized that the more technology and the more knowledge we possess, the more disconnected we are from nature and from this ancient knowledge. So they are very they take a lot of care by how they interact with our modern way of doing things. And these institutions, most of them, they know not only hold the knowledge of the ancient healers possessed, but they also kept in a most secretive way another kind of knowledge. And this kind of knowledge is how things like colors, shapes, sounds, and words alter reality and alter matter. And that's what we call magic now, right? For example, have you ever wondered why the robes from Howards are black? Why they use red and yellow and green and blue as the main colors of each house? And this is because colors possess certain vibration. Black, for example, it and I don't know if you are following me in this, but which color do you associate with before Harry Potter? With which color do you associate witches, and in the wicked way of witchcraft, right? It was with black, and black cats and black things, and the things the way that the system, these institutions, deprived us from this knowledge, it was by associating this knowledge with wicked things, with evil things, with the devil, and with non-pleasant and well, mostly with evil, right? And why was that? Because if you start to think about something as evil, you don't want to be related with that unless you're evil, of course. But you don't want to relate with such things. You want to keep them aside as much as you want, especially if you get related with them and you end up killed and I don't know, like within fire, right? Within a fire pike or something. You don't want that for yourself, of course. So people start to be detached from this knowledge because of fear, and that, I think, is the most important way, an important tool the system uses for detach us from knowledge and from these things. And I talk about these colors from the robes, because black is a very powerful color. It possesses the whole other vibrations within itself as much as white, but they are different frequencies from the same energy. They are both very powerful colors. Yet, yes, witches and wizards use black as main color because it's a way that you can download information and lock it and use it from as an intentional way. And so the other colors has each one a very particular vibration, and it alters our minds, our mindset, and it alters our emotional world. And let's take, for example, publicity or mercadology. I don't know if that's the word, but these new brands of science, because it's science also, to make us as consumers to consume a certain product or to go to a certain store. They learn about how the colors affect us, and how they can use this mix of colors to make us do something they want. It's technology. It remains being technology, but being used for a particular purpose, right? Like makes us buy something or makes us stay in certain places. So that's, for example, colors. But there are also shapes. In most cultures, ancient cultures, I mean, you can go to these sacred places and you will find geometry patterns everywhere. Why? Because each shape holds a frequency, each shape holds an energetic information. They know it from, I don't know, miles, certain, I don't know, long, certain centuries ago. They know this, but we forgot it, right? But we sort of forgot it, but not at all, because knowledge remains, even how far they go and how many things they do for makes us forget. Knowledge remains hidden in our subconscious. That's why shapes affects us. When you see a certain geometry, it creates something within your mind, and it creates a certain emotion, and it reminds you of certain things that are hidden within our DNA, even, because DNA it's a geometry pattern that holds energy, right, and that holds information. So they kept this knowledge for themselves, literally. Look, for example, the shapes of cathedrals. They are not built the way they are and just because of a random situation. They hold geometry patterns. In every vitral window, you will find what we now call them mandalas. They are mandalas. And what are mandalas? Are geometry structures that hold a certain information. And most of these geometry mandalas, you can find them in ancient in ancient architecture, like for an in example in India and in Mexico, in the indigenous cultures, they hold this knowledge. They turn it into something dangerous, and then they kept them for themselves and they started to use them. Tell me if that's not magic is might. Tell me if that knowledge is not being used for a certain purpose for themselves. And I talk about already colors and patterns, but there is also sound. If you go to an ancient cathedral, for example, and you hear the musical, I don't remember its name, but this musical instrument, and I don't remember, but it's like a pianoforte, and it has very bold sounds, well, all kinds of sounds, but they, within the structure of the cathedrals, they work as a magnifier of these sounds, because sound is one of the most powerful technologies. I don't know if you know about this, but in nature there's this frequency. If I'm wrong, please be kind to remind me in a nice way, but I believe it's the 4032 hertz, that every single sound produced by nature is within this frequency, and it's a very healing frequency. If you are ill of something and you start to put as a sound that holds this frequency, the whole system will start to regain equilibrium and balance, and therefore the body will be more able to heal itself or in more fast way. But I don't know in which era the whole mainstream music was changed from this frequency to a lower frequency. And you may say, oh, it's a couple of hertz. It's not a couple of hertz. It's what this unbalanced frequency does to your body and does to your mind and does to your energy, emotional energy. If you are not in a mental peace way of thinking, everything in your world would be altered, because you cannot hold a strong frequency, and therefore your body will start to get ill. You will start to have mental problems. You will start to have to be unbalanced in most areas of your life, because you are not in balance. You are in on imbalance. So they changed this mainstream music frequency randomly, or they knew how sound affects us and they did it purposely. Because, for example, linking publicity techniques and methodology techniques with an unbalanced mindset, when you're unbalanced, you will tend to think that fast food, than fast dopamine entering things will make you feel better, and they will make you feel better for, I don't know, like a minute or something, but then you will be unbalanced again. But you have already buy something, or you have already eat something just because of you're bored, like the Grinch or something, right? That's the way they profit from our imbalance and from our ignorance. Because also, if you know, for example, that dandelion can cure liver diseases and can make you desintoxicate your body, would you go to the doctor more often, as you do already? If your body is in equilibrium and your body can regrowth its natural way of producing your cells in a harmonical way, you wouldn't be a doctor and pharmaceutical clients, right? Would you? So this whole knowledge about Or another, for example, another class that Harry has. I forgot to say this, but um, if you have read the books, there's a part in the first book where Harry, in the first chapters, I don't remember which one, but where Harry said that he realizes that magic was not only, not literally these words, but it's not like just a bunch of hocus pocus. And he says it's not just saying funny words and switch your wand in certain way. Magic is more deep. He needs to learn herbology, astronomy, potions, incantations, and transfiguration, right? Incantations, what are they? They are words, because words hold power. And what words are if not sound? Because as I told you before, sound is one of the most potent frequency to create ways to create and model and shape matter. So let's think about now the technology behind words. What is a ritual? What do you have associate in your mind with the word ritual? For most people, if you tell them rituals, they think about very indigenous kind of things, or they sort of think about very wicked kind of practices. But let's take it from a perspective of an indigenous sort of see the concept of this word, right? In an indigenous ritual, you have to have an element of nature, fire, water, earth, or wind. You have to have shapes, geometry, most often shapes that are symbols. Symbols are shapes, and you have to have tools like herbal things, or like something from nature that you will use for the purpose of the rituals. And you have to have one of the most important things, that it's music, and the most important thing is of all, intention. That's what a ritual is. And for example, let's take I don't know, I don't know what could be a good example for this ritual thing. Well, let's focus on the word, right? It is something that people did in the ancient ways, like a natural thing, because that was a way to connect with other realms and to shape our intentions and create this vortex that creates magic. Yeah, right? Intention is how you use these tools you have to create a certain outcome. But if you start to associate a word that is a vibration linked with an idea, and you unlinked that idea and linked it with another idea, with another concept, then the word changes its meaning. It's the same it's the same word, but you now have associated that sound with a different concept. That is magic as well, because you will start to use words more often, and you will start to use another words lesser often, because that you will have linked them with something unpleasant, or with something nasty, or with something mean. So if you imagine, if you, I don't know, if Alohomora, for example, start to be linked with a very nasty thing, you won't use Alohomora anymore. And you won't use its power, because its power, it remains its power, because the frequency, it remains the same, but you will start to use it lesser, because it's linked now with something rather nasty, for example. And let's take, for example, another word that has a nasty vibration, but you linked it with a pleasant idea, with a pleasant concept, you will start to use it more. That is magic. and that is how its magic, it has kept holding control and holding power for certain people, right? And this may sound like a very conspirative thing, because if you say that there are secret societies, it sounds like a very conspirative thing. But this secret society, the only thing they did, and why are they secret, is because most people don't want this knowledge to be public, because most of the things they gain with this knowledge will be lost, right? And who wants to lose its profit? And who wants to lose it's not, I don't know, the people that they control, right? So magic remains being used nowadays. Let's think about this thing that I told you. If you think about the word ceremony, what comes into your mind? First thought. Or like an opening ceremony, for example, something very common in our nowadays culture. It doesn't sound dangerous, isn't it? Is it? Does it sound dangerous, the word ceremony? But let's analyze what there is in a ceremony. At least in a very recent time ceremonies, right? And let's make a parenthesis. I don't know how this is called. But let's talk about times, because time is important. And let's talk about the Fyrens from the Harry Potter first book. I don't remember the chapter, but in the first book, when Harry and Hermione, Neville, and Malfoy are in their detention, and they're punished for being late in the night, in the castle at night, they are taken into the Forbidden Forest. And in the Forbidden Forest, they found centaurs. And the centaurs have a very particular way of saying things like, oh, Mars is strong today, or something they say, no? Because we are constantly affected as human, as living creatures, by the energies of our surroundings. And what energies are these? These are the energies that came from the spheres and the planets and the stars, and every single celestial body are casting energy and frequencies towards Earth, because we are all affected. We are a net of energy, and every single dot in the net affects any other dot. So we are constantly being bring forward these energies to ourselves, and we react to these energies. So that's important. When a certain celestial body or a constellation is casting an energy towards the Earth, the Earth reacts, and the human and the living creatures react to these energies. So certain things tends to happen. We have entered into a whole new era in which a certain amount of celestial bodies are casting energy towards us. Therefore, we are reacting in a certain ways, and there are certain things that are happening within our emotions, within our minds, within everything. And if these people want to control us, muggles, they know about these energies entering into our fields, and they know what these energies are going to do within ourselves as societies and as individuals. So they don't want these kind of things that are meant to happen, or they want to relent these things, and you will find it as a consciousness shift. We are shifting our consciousness, and we can shift our consciousness to evolve, or we can shift our consciousness to evolve. And if we are evolved, we are not easily controlled because we are gaining our power back, the power of knowledge, the power of powers, of inner gifts we all possess, and the power of connecting within ourselves as humans, uh, and to connect with other realms, like animal realms, like plant realms, like vegetable, I don't know, realms, and we will gain our power back, and that means that they will lose control over the masses, right? They don't want this, so they are using the knowledge they possess to hold this energy and lower it. And how are they using it? Let's go back to opening ceremonies, for example. We have colors, we have shapes, we have natural elements, we have sound, we have words, and we have, most important thing, we have intention behind. And this is very important and very interesting because, as I told before, they use our own fears and our own fear to rejectment and our own fear to humiliation, and to our own fear to be detached from society, to make us believe that all of this thing that people are telling about intentions are not real. They are nonsense, they are delulu things, and they are conspiracy theories, and they are conspiracy um, nonsense, right? So I am just saying this for you to think about it. I'm not saying it's real. I'm just saying you can see a pattern. At least in the you can see a pattern if you look for a ceremony from 20 years ago. You will find shapes. You will find colors. You will find sound. You will find words. You will find all of these things. But in recent times, it's like they have been more obvious and more dark, more obscure. And I think they want muggles to be very obscured and to lower their vibration very much. Because if you're in a constant state of stress or anger or fear or sadness or desperation or anxiety, you will be easily controlled. And if you are in a state of peace, in a state of connection, in a state of love, in a state of compassion, in a state of unity, you won't be controlled easily, because you will start to see where they are trying to redirect our mindsets and our emotions, and you will be more open to notice patterns in the political manipulation, in the economical manipulation, in the societal, in the entertainment world. I mean, take a look at these new series and movies. They are being produced from, I don't know, 5 years ago. Look at what the themes are, how the main protagonists, the main protagonists are, how they behave, how they think, how they react to others, what are their purposes, what are their goals, what are the things that moves them to react and to act in a certain ways. And you will tell me if that's something related with love and compassion and unity. And you will start to connect the dots. And I think this is probably one of the most important videos I have made, and probably this is the reason why I start to make this video, because I have to talk about this. And it was a hard way to get to this video because I didn't know how to explain all of this. But here we are, and I hope you can open your mind to these ideas and not believe me, but start to be open to see what are they putting into our worlds, and what are the intentions behind, because as I said before, intention is the most important thing. With the intention we conduct energy, and therefore we create an outcome. And I want to close this video with a quote also from a book, from a Harry Potter book. In the fourth book, when Harry has go back from the cemetery after Cedric's death and the rebirth of Voldemort, when Barty Crouch Jr. is telling his tale, he said something very interesting. He said, decent people are easy to manipulate. How much of these concepts they have put in our minds, it's for us to be decent people, and how much have we been easily manipulated because of our goodness and our desire to be accepted in society, and our desire to be integrated in the world, right? So think about it, and say whatever if you have seen this, if you have noticed this, say it in the comments. Maybe other people can see what you have seen already, and be attuned. I mean, even though in the end Mad-Eye Moody ended up being a bad guy in the fourth book, he said something that resonates through Harry in the future, and it is, be vigilant. Be vigilant. Be open to the magic that does really exist. Learn about the natural world. Learn about plants. Learn about the energy of the planets. Learn about how to create a potion, like I don't know, some Artemis cooking for stomach, or how to heal your liver and your entire digestive system with dental ions, for example. Learn. Be open to the magic of the world. Be vigilant to that, but also be vigilant to the direction they are trying to lead us and what outcomes they are trying to create, because magic is real and they know it and they use it to their purposes, and most of the purposes is to control and to gain from our ignorance and from our fears and from the lack of power that they are leading us to. So be vigilant, and be vigilant as well for the next video. I don't know the name of the next video, but I'm kinda sure I'm talking about love. So the next word that you will find to find the video is love, and we'll see you next time. I don't know how far it will be, but I'm sure there will be a beautiful video, so stay tuned and be vigilant. Bye.